This presentation is for educational purposes only, and the opinions expressed are those of the presenter only. All trades presented are not traded in a live account and should be considered hypothetical. Hello everybody and welcome to Hawkeyefx with your host Marcus Toombs on the 25th of September 2017, and this is my weekly review. If you remember from my review last week, we were looking for continued New Zealand strength here, which it did throughout the week into the New Zealand elections, but it's just started to turn over now. We're starting to look for weakness. If we look here on the 4-hour charts for the New Zealand dollar from last Monday, you can see the New Zealand dollar did strengthen through the week against all of the 6 currency pairs, and it was our strongest currency last week. However, with the indecisive results of the New Zealand election over the weekend, you can see there is weakness now coming into the New Zealand currency. So the big news ticket for the New Zealand dollar comes on Wednesday with the interest rate decision, where rates are expected to be kept on hold. But do look out for rhetoric or jawboning the currency, as it's considered the New Zealand to be overvalued at the moment. And this should hasten a weakening cycle in the New Zealand dollar. Last week we were also looking for continued US dollar strength as we turned up strongly here in the charts. And this did continue through the week. Although as seen on the 4-hour charts here for the US dollars, we did have to wait for FOMC, where the FOMC were hawkish about the next rate rise, to see the US dollar continue to strengthen. Now the only major news out of the US this week is new home sales and Fed Chair Yellen speaking on Tuesday, and then core durable goods and pending home sales on Wednesday. But given the political situation and the situation in North Korea, I would expect any gains in the US dollar to be reasonably well capped. Last week we were also looking for Canadian weakness as we headed down from the overbought territory, and this was our weakest currency throughout the week. As we can see here on the 4-hour charts from last Monday, the Canadian weakened against all of our currency pairs, although reasonably horizontal against the yen, which was itself weakening, and finding some strength against the New Zealand and Canadian later in the week. The major news on the Canadian this week comes on Wednesday with Governor Powell's speak and the GDP reading from Canada on Friday. Overall, the Canadian is in a weakening cycle, and we would expect this to continue, although there may be a pullback on the way down. Now with the pound, we were looking out for this currency to turn down from overbought territory here and weaken, which it did finally on Friday following Prime Minister May's speech in Florence. Do refer to my blog on Friday for more information on the pound. But we should continue to expect this to weaken through the week here, especially against the US dollar and the yen. Although this may translate into more horizontal movement against the New Zealand as this does turn down now this week, the euro given the election result, the Aussie as it also turns down, and the Canadian dollar here. There is little news to come out of the pound this week apart from GDP on Friday, although we do have Carney speaking on Thursday, and we also have the Brexit negotiations all of this week. And then finally, we were also looking for the yen to continue to weaken throughout last week, which it did, only turning here on Friday. Again, here on the 4-hour charts from Monday, you can see the yen weakened against the US dollar, against the pound, against the euro, sideways against the Canadian, weakened against the Aussie and the New Zealand, and it was equally as weak as the Canadian dollar last week. Now, however, as you see, the yen has turned up from oversold territory here. We should expect this yen currency pairs to strengthen now as it runs back up in the charts. There's no major news announcements on the yen this week, but obviously the situation in North Korea will drive trade to the safe haven currency. And finally, at least, let us not forget the euro. As you can see, we're strengthened going into the German election with the indecisive results and the hung parliament. The euro has turned down here now on the daily. We may well see this take a further leg lower in the current weakening cycle. Okay, as usual, I hope this helps your trading this week. Do look out for pound weakness and yen strength.